Chungking Mansions or some other cheap hotel and was just gung ho. Now, so this is as far as I can make out, it's Conan himself, and it's probably his single most impressive stunt in the movie as he gets up the ladder. At the beginning of our Hong Kong Chainsaw Massacre, boom, Conan goes back. That's a pretty hairy stunt. Finishes off Nick. And now, the next moment we see here, actually Wayne, who's coming in, was meant to be killed. He's meant to run in after Conan and get crushed by all the stuff falling, but he didn't, at the last minute, he didn't want to go under there. Who can blame him? And there was a funny moment, one of the DPs, one of the assistant directors who pay the actors was complaining. He says, oh, you just want to get another day's pay. And Wayne says, look, if you feel that way, if I need to come back another day, you haven't got to pay me for that day. So that was what happened there. And now we have the throwdown with the chainsaws. It's just like a great thing. I don't know which came first, whether Sam Raimi had already done the kind of Evil Dead with the chainsaws, or what the combination. I think maybe even like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but you know, some American movie that had been seen by Lau Garlang, and he thought, you know what, wouldn't it be great if we actually had the classic final real sword fight, but instead of being swords or specially enhanced magic swords, we'll have them be these chainsaws. You have to wonder, why would they need two power saws like these in a kind of a in like a place that's building wind surfboards? Anyway, it makes for a great finale, so what the hell. Somebody was complaining, you know, well, it's obvious that the machines aren't on most of the time. I'm like, yeah, so, you know, they weren't carving their limbs up for our entertainment, but it still works very well for me. You mentioned Lau Gar-Fai. I mean, as I mentioned before, I brought him to UK back in the early 90s, I think, for a show. It was a very tough tour, freezing, the worst weather you can imagine, and he was such a nice man, so pleasant. As I say, at that time he was speaking perfect English. We used to play guitar for the students at the different seminars we were doing, sing English songs. I remember harmonizing with him on Daddy's Home by Cliff Richard. I wish somebody had that on video. That would have been a great extra for this movie. We'd have had to get the rights to the song, but it would have been a great kind of an unlikely kind of combination of talents. He had been, as I mentioned, a big star at Shaw's, primarily in this monk character, then tried to remake himself in modern-day gangster thrillers, films like Bloody Fight, Fiery Family. He appears again in Tiger on the Beat 2 as a different character. He's in Crystal Hunt and Cheetah on Fire, again with Donnie Yen, and Story of the Gun. And then really came back with Last Hero of Shaolin with Jet Li, where the Kung Fu movie had come back and he reprised his role as a monk, as a Kung Fu fighting monk, though this time he's like a bad guy monk. And then was doing various movies and TV series. And often you see him in like straight, like dramatic or comedic TV series. He's not doing Kung Fu TV series all the time. He was in, like, when they did a reprise of the old Monkey, Journey to the West, he was in that playing the bull god. So he's always working, perpetually in the business. And looks much the same. I mean, recently he's had his head shaved again, and he looks much the same as he did back in the glory days. Should mention again, this is whenever you see all the spinning and jumps and kicks and flips that Lau Gar-Fai is doing here, it's actually Hung Yan-Yan is doubling him, and Hung Yan-Yan was his main double for the whole film, and would later go on for greater fame working with Jet Li and also on Double Team with Jean-Claude Van Damme and as the action director for The Musketeer. This film was actually nominated in 1988 Best Action Choreography, but Police Story 2 won. Though actually, you know, Police Story 2, I think in action terms, is not my favorite of the Jackie Chan movies. So maybe they kind of got lucky that year because it was Jackie. But this film, also, I mean, you know, probably this Police Story 2 is better in terms of consistent action than Tiger on Beat. But that was the film's sole nomination. I was surprised they didn't get nominated for song, and I thought there might have been some kind of nod to Chow Yun-Fat, you know, best actor, just for, you know, the sheer enjoyment value of his performance, but I guess not. So it was a film the audience liked perhaps more than the critics did. So, and of course, the true hero of the hour, Chow gets to come in, and actually this is kind of nice bit of referencing, because earlier in the movie at the press conference, David Chang says to the press, look at their weapons, they're sophisticated, the weapons that we